Hello and welcome to Into the Woods with Holly Wharton. This podcast is all about our journey into the woods of ourselves, getting to know who we are, where we are, and where we're going in life so that we can create the life that we want to live. It's about deepening your connection with yourself, taking inspired action, and really trusting yourself and your intuition. It's also about mindset. Our beliefs are such an important part of this journey. And there are so many ways for us to change our mindset so that we can more easily live a life of expansive joy. This podcast is also about going literally into the woods and spending time in nature, and how that can help us on our own personal journey of self-knowledge. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now let's get into this week's episode. Hello, adventurers, and welcome to the Into the Woods podcast, episode 385. This is your host, Holly Wharton, and I'm back with another solo episode. Today, I'm going to talk about how outdoors adventures can revolutionize your relationship with your body. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, especially when I go on some of my longer runs, just really reflecting on how my own relationship with my body has changed in the last few years, but especially the last few months. So I wanted to kind of share my story and give you some ideas of some ways that you can change your perception of your body and change your relationship with your body based on the things that you do with it. But before we get into today's episode, I wanted to mention a podcast that I was recently a guest on. I was a guest on Joanna Penn's The Creative Penn podcast. And this is a podcast that I've been listening to. It's one of the first podcasts I started listening to probably 8 years ago, I think. So it was such a pleasure and such an honor to be a guest on this podcast. And we talked about business mindset and pivoting your author career. So if you'd like to take a look at that, you can go to hollywharton.com/pen, that's Penn, and that will redirect to Joanna Penn's website, and you can listen to the episode. It was a really enjoyable conversation, which we recorded back in August. I think things have changed for the both of us since then, so it was really interesting to hear it go live and recall the conversation, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. So head over to hollywharton.com/PENN, and you can listen to it there. And also, I wanted to give a big thank you to new patron Cassandra. Thank you so much for your support. And just as a quick reminder, if you get value from this episode, I would love for you to join me on Patreon. If you head over to patreon.com/Holly Wharton, that's patreon.com/Holly Wharton, you can join me there. You can support me from just $1 a month, and you get exclusive access to stuff that I don't share for free anywhere else, like free copies of my ebooks, depending on what tier you sign up on. So thank you very much for joining me. Let's get into the episode. So I've had, I guess, kind of a complicated relationship with my body. I grew up not in an athletic family. I was never really encouraged to participate in sports, and I was never really good at sports. As a kid growing up, I really hated PE. It was the worst time of day for me in school. I dreaded it. And I always kind of grew up with the beliefs that I was given that looks were important. So my relationship with my body was always kind of like, it should look good. And I never really thought about health and like fitness and that kind of thing until much later in my life. And luckily, I never had a problem with weight, so I didn't have the added stress of having these beliefs that looks are super important and having issues with weight. That didn't happen until much later. So I kind of grew up with like, everything was okay. I didn't realize that there was a problem with these beliefs. And like I said, I wasn't athletic at all. I mean, I hated PE so much. I have always said that if hell exists, I don't believe in hell, but if it does exist, it involves volleyball. I hated volleyball. And now that I'm grown up and I have, an autism diagnosis, I think probably my fear of flying balls comes from my autism. I don't know, but I am terrified of flying balls. I hate sports that involve balls in the air. And most of PE was ball sports, which I hated. So anyway, thought I wasn't sporty, thought I just kind of got the smart gene, but not the sporty gene, and really struggled with that. I just felt so bad about myself. Every PE class, a lot of my friends were athletic, a lot of them did swimming or basketball, and I just didn't. I was so like athletically awkward and just terrible. And now that I think about it in retrospect, it makes me really angry because I feel like all those years of PE in elementary school and junior high and high school, not one PE teacher, phys ed, whatever you call it, told me, you know what? No, you're not sporty. But if you try and if you practice and if you put in the time, you'll get better. No one told me that in all those years. So I literally thought that I just wasn't athletic and I was never going to be. I did not have the mindset that I could change that because I don't know, it just didn't occur to me. And no one told me. And I kind of feel like phys ed teachers are the people that, that's their job. I feel like their job isn't just to make you run around a field and play ball sports. It should be to encourage the kids that aren't athletic to maybe give it a try or try to like it. I don't know. Anyway, this is something I could rant on for a while because it makes me really angry. So it wasn't until my late 20s, don't remember what year it was. Yeah, it was my late 20s that I started running. And what happened there was I gained 5 pounds. And I'd never gained weight before. I just thought my body was just naturally slim and always would be. That was not the case. I had a very stressful business at the time. I had a very sedentary role in the business. I was just sitting at my computer for long hours and gained 5 pounds, which is not that big of a deal, but it really woke me up. And I remember emailing one of my friends from high school and being like, one of the sporty friends, and being like, Amy, I gained some weight. What do I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do. And she said, you go out, you buy a pair of running shoes, and you run. And I was like, I don't know if I can run, but okay. So I went out, bought my running shoes, and I started running. And she said, you go out for half an hour. If you can't run for the half an hour, just do what you can. Run for 2 minutes, walk for 2 minutes, run for 2 minutes, walk for 2 minutes until you get up to half an hour. And I was like, okay. And at the beginning, I couldn't run more for like a minute or two. And it was really painful. And it was really hot where I lived because I was living in Southeast Mexico at the time. So I had to run like really early in the morning because it was just so hot and humid. But I did it and I got better and better and better. And then I signed up for a marathon. And then about 6 months after I started running, I did the marathon, which I DNF'd. I did not finish it. And that kind of set me up for some bad beliefs about my athletic ability. But I had started my journey. And I realized that I could be athletic and I could do sporty things with my body. So that was good. That was a huge shift for me. I learned something very important. And then I hit my mid-30s and my thyroid got messed up and gained a lot of weight and really struggled to lose it. I tried just about everything and nothing worked. And I really started to feel kind of, I don't know, abandoned by my body. I mean, obviously not, it was still there, but it was like it was mistreating me. It was like, it gained weight and I had no energy. And so it was the combination of like the weight gain and the low energy that just felt so awful. And I just felt like my body was limiting me and it wasn't letting me do all the things that I wanted to do. And I was just really miserable and I had lost all hope. And then I discovered intermittent fasting, which I've been doing for about 2.5 years now. And anyone that's ever talked to me in real life about this knows just how much I love intermittent fasting. And if you've ever even remotely expressed interest in intermittent fasting, I've probably bought you a copy of Jason Fung's book, The Complete Guide to Fasting, because I bought so many people a copy of that book. I will link to that in the show notes because if you're interested in fasting, you need a copy of that book. It will tell you everything you need to know about intermittent fasting. I also have a really thorough blog post that talks about my fasting journey, which I will link to as well in the show notes. But get yourself that book if you're interested. So I started fasting and I originally did it because I wanted to lose weight. But I gained my energy back. I received the beautiful gift of energy. Fasting releases noradrenaline, which gives you energy and makes you feel like a normal human being. Now, for the first couple of weeks after I started fasting, I went the opposite way. I was bouncing off the walls with energy. I don't know. I was just like all over the place. And I remember Augustine looking at me one day and saying, I don't even know who you are anymore. What is this? Who is this person? But it really changed my life. And so when I say fasting changed my life, it wasn't so much because of the aesthetic reason of losing weight. It was the energy that I got back, because when I got my energy back, then I could do the things I wanted to do. And then this year we had COVID and I got back into running. I had forgotten how much I loved running. And I remember telling Augustine years ago, don't ever let me forget how much I love running. And he's tried. He has tried so hard to tell me. And I just wouldn't listen to him. It was like I got to this point where I had quit running and time had gone on. And every time he'd be like, well, remember, you love running. I'd be like, I hate running. I don't want to do it. Ugh. And then it just completely shifted this year. And now that I'm getting back into longer distances, working my way up every week. Monday, I did 24K. It's just completely revolutionized my relationship with my body. And I realized this about 2 or 3 months ago. I had a call with my fasting coach, who I will also link to in the show notes. I did 12 months with her, 12 sessions, and started in December last year, just had my last session with her this week. And about 3 months ago, I said to her, my goals are changing. Like, yes, I still want to lose more weight, but what's more important to me is the fitness stuff, is the running stuff. And because I'm running more, because I'm exercising more, I decided to change the fasting protocol that I was following. I was doing alternate day fasting. Now I'm back to OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. And I said to her, look, I'd like to lose weight, but really the higher priority is my running. And when I said that to her, I realized what a huge shift that had been in my mindset, because for so many years it was like, I gained this weight, I wanted to lose the weight. I just wanted to get back to where I was. I wanted to get back to that number, the number that had been my weight for most of my life. I liked that number, I wanted that number. But now there was something more important. It was running. It was this activity where my body takes me fun places. I know I've talked in my books and probably on this podcast about how when I'm walking a long distance trail or when I go on a hike, sometimes I find myself smiling to myself because I'm just so happy. I'm out in nature, I'm on the trails, I'm seeing beautiful things, and without even thinking about it, I'm just smiling to myself. And I've been catching myself doing that on my longer runs. I'm a slow runner, so when I run 24K, that takes me over 3 hours, 3 hours and a bit. So I'm out on trails. I'm seeing new trails. I thought I had walked all the trails in my area. Not so. I'm discovering new trails. And because I'm running rather than walking, I'm going faster. So I'm going further and I get to see more things and more new things. And I've been feeling myself smiling on my runs because I'm enjoying them so much. And my runs are bringing me such joy. And I've realized that my relationship with my body has moved from an aesthetic focus to a functional focus. And of course, this didn't happen overnight. It was a result of all these different things that I've been doing with my body, dating back to 2015 when I walked the South Downs Way for the first time and had a really rough time with it. That was so hard. And that was probably the start of this mindset shift, because I realized that my feet could take me really beautiful places and they could take me on really exciting adventures, more exciting than just a day hike. So this shift from a focus on aesthetics to a focus on function and adventure has been really huge for me. I feel like I'm finally at a point where I appreciate my body. And I hate saying that because it's like I've been doing all these beautiful runs and walks and kickboxing and all the stuff that I do. And of course, my body has allowed me to do all those things. And I'm grateful for that because not everyone has function of their body. I know that. I've always known that. And yet I still took it for granted. And now I feel like I really appreciate all the places that my body takes me and all of the adventures that my body allows me to have. And I really, really appreciate it. And I'm really, really grateful for it. And I don't know where you are in your journey with your body or your relationship with your body, but I think a lot of people, and I think a lot of women in particular, really don't have a great relationship with their body. Media, film, television, magazines, advertising, all that stuff shows super thin people doing amazing things and being happy with all the products that they're selling and all the things that they're doing in their fictional world. And so I think that's one of the reasons why it's so ingrained in us, this focus on aesthetics. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good. I still want to lose some weight. I want to look good. I mean, I think I look okay, but like I want to look better. Like I do have aesthetic goals for my body. But I think the fact that I've shifted more to functional goals has made me much kinder to myself. So I wanted to share some ideas with you about how, if you want to shift your focus and shift your relationship with your body, how you might be able to do that. And I think one of the ways is to start by seeing the opportunities, thinking about all the activities that you could do with your body. So for me, it's running, it's backpacking, it's camping, it's walking long distance trails, it's kickboxing. Those are all the things that I love most in terms of adventures and stuff that my body allows me to do. So think about what you want to do. Maybe it's dance, maybe it's hiking, maybe it's running, maybe it's, something else. What are all the activities that you would love to do with your body? Make a note of those. Write those down in your journal. Brainstorm all the things that you would love to do with your body. And then see how you can take better care of your body. So for me, that looked like in 2015, I quit high heels. I think people that know me today would find this hard to believe because I don't wear heels anymore. But for a long time, especially when I lived in Argentina, I wore high heels every day, and I used to wear really high heels, and people would always say to me, how do you walk on those heels? And I'd be like, oh, they're so comfortable, because I would always buy really good quality heels, and I was used to wearing them every day. But when I walked the South Downs Way, my feet hurt so badly because I was wearing a big backpack, and I wasn't used to walking with so much weight on my body, like not just physical weight of my body, but also the backpack. And my feet hurt so badly, I realized how important my feet were to me, and I didn't want to mess them up even more by wearing heels. So I quit heels. And since then, I've been buying more kind of foot-shaped shoes, like Vivo barefoot shoes, which I love. And even my running shoes, I wear Altras, which are more foot-shaped. And I've just been investing more money into foot-friendly shoes. So that's one thing that helped me to care better for my body, because I realized that my feet were the things that would take me places. Giving myself permission to sleep in when needed. I've never been a morning person, but I've always felt that kind of guilt, because you hear so many people saying, successful people get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they have a morning routine, and then they get started by 6 o'clock doing all their stuff. And my brain just doesn't function in the morning. My brain functions really well starting at about 11. And I think giving myself permission, I don't sleep into 11, but giving myself permission to sleep in when I need it to recover has been a really important gift to my body. I remember talking to my kickboxing trainer earlier this year, I think it was, and I was talking to him about how exhausted I am at the end of the advanced courses that we do, the advanced gradings. And I was like, I am barely standing on my feet at the end of those. And he was like, well, you need to increase your fitness level. And I said, well, I don't know how to do that because I feel like I barely have time to recover. Like, how do I recover? And he said, the cheapest form of recovery is sleep. And I thought, oh, I guess I can allow myself to sleep more. And so when I feel like my alarm goes off in the morning and I need to sleep some more because I've had like a big workout the day before or an extra long run, I give myself permission to sleep in an extra half hour or an hour. And honestly, that's really, really helped with my recovery. And it's really helped me to care for my body because I don't want to burn out. I've been there and I don't want to do that. So another thing is eating the foods that I know my body likes. 2.5 years ago, or 3, almost, no, 2.5, yeah, about 2.5 years ago, I started eating keto. And I'm not eating strict keto anymore, but I do eat mostly high fat, low carb. And that is something that has been also really important in how I care for my body. My body has never liked carbs. It never felt good after bread and rice and pasta and all that stuff. But that stuff is addictive, and so I let myself eat it. But when I started keto, I realized how much my body loved fat and how much better I felt. So eating the foods that I know my body likes have also helped me to care better for my body. And also helps me be fat adapted so that I can run fasted and do exercise fasted. Another thing is to listen to your body. And people always used to say this to me, like, listen to your body. That will help you know what to do and how to treat it. And I always felt really disconnected from my body. And then, I think it was last year, the year before, I got an Oura ring. So it's like a Fitbit for your sleep. It's a ring that goes on your finger, obviously, and it monitors your body temperature and your heart rate and your HRV, or heart rate variation, I think it is. And it gives you data about how to improve your sleep and how to improve your readiness. And that is one thing that has really helped me to tune into my body. A lot of times I'll wake up and I'll be due for a run and I kind of feel like crap. And I think, oh, what should I do? Like, I have a run in the calendar. I really need to run today because I really don't have time in my calendar other days this week. And the weather's crappy later on in the week. So what do? I should run today, not feeling really well. What do I do? And I feel like having that external data, obviously it's not perfect, but I feel like having that external data helps me to trust what I was already feeling, but maybe didn't want to acknowledge. So when my Oura ring, it has an app, when the app says my readiness is not good, then I tune into my body and I think, maybe I should take it easy today. And this is something that happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I had a long run in the calendar and I had a long hike to train for my ultra in the same week. And I couldn't do either because I just did not feel great all week. And I ended up kind of bumping the run from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday to Thursday to Friday to Saturday to Sunday. And it just never happened. I wasn't feeling well. And so I did shorter things. I did shorter runs. I did lighter stuff and I rested. But it was having that tech data that helped me to kind of give myself permission. Because so often, like, I do listen to my body, but then my head kind of wants to override that and be like, well, but we have to stay on track with our goals. We have to do this run. We have to do this walk. And so having that data has really helped me to kind of pay attention to my body and not override what I'm actually feeling. And then value your body, like value all the things it allows you to do. If you have functional legs, like, your body takes you places. Like, maybe you're not doing, half mile or 24K runs or half marathons or whatever, but your body does take you places. Probably. Value what it allows you to do. And even if you are in a weight loss journey, value your non-scale victories. Like, I was obsessively weighing myself because I was fasting and I wanted to make sure I stayed on schedule, and looking at my weight really helped because I could see, how it was changing every week. And then about the same time that I start, getting this mindset shift from aesthetics to function, I just quit weighing myself. It was like I started forgetting, and then I just didn't care anymore. So I can't remember the last time I weighed myself. But looking at those non-scale victories are really important. I ran 24K this week. That was great. I haven't run that long in years. That was great. And then, I did that 35K walk a couple weeks ago. That was amazing. Stuff like value the things that your body allows you to do. Value even the non-tangible things like energy. Like I'm still, fasting is a lifestyle for me now. I don't think I will ever go back to 3 meals a day or 3 big meals and 2 small meals, or, whatever, all the little things that the different diets and people tell you to do. Fasting has given me so much energy, and I'm so grateful for that. I love it. So that's my lifestyle now. So value things like energy. Next, mindset work. I'm always talking about doing mindset work, and I've been working on and off with, and I've mentioned her a couple of times now, Jane Talbot, who's an NLP practitioner. We've been doing values elicitation. We've been doing timeline work, and it's really helped me with my relationship with my body. It's helped me with my relationship with my fitness goals, and it's really helped. So how can you clean up your mindset? Start out by cleaning up anything in your social media that doesn't make you feel good. So earlier this year, I did a huge cleanup on all of my social networks, unfollowed a bunch of stuff that I was no longer interested, and followed a bunch of nature-y stuff that made me feel great. If you're following anyone or anything on social media that doesn't make you feel good, be that influencers or products or whatever, just unfollow that stuff. Get it out of your field of vision and replace it with stuff that does make you feel good. I've started following Runner's World magazine, people that do trail running, because that inspires me. I love seeing where other people go on their runs. It inspires me for my own runs. So clean up your social media, declutter it, and fill it up with stuff that does make you feel good. If your fitness goals are, I don't know, like hiking or camping or dance related or some other sport, tennis, I don't know, climbing, fill up your social media with that stuff because that will inspire you to do those things. Next, gratitude work. That's not something I do regularly and consistently, but it helps when I do it. And whenever I feel like I need to do it, I do it. So it's just writing down stuff that you're grateful for, generally in your life or specifically to your body. It could be really useful to take the time in your journal to do 10 things that you're grateful to your body for. What are 10 things that your body allows you to do? Write that down. I'm so grateful to my body because it allows me to do this. Forgiveness work. I've done a lot of forgiveness work, Ho'oponopono stuff with my body, because I feel like I didn't have the greatest self-talk for a long time. And I feel like I was just really upset with my body. And I feel like I just wasn't very nice to it. So I've done a lot of Ho'oponopono to my body and to myself to forgive myself for just not being nice to myself. Sports mindset. Again, you can work with a Psych-K facilitator or an NLP practitioner or someone who works on reprogramming your mindset and your beliefs at the subconscious level to help you with your sports and fitness and body mindset. And a lot of times this all boils down to the belief that I am good enough. My body is good enough. And using those techniques to implant those beliefs in your subconscious. And when you do that, that will make everything shift. It will make you make different decisions. And it will give you a whole new outlook on things. Just having those two beliefs, I am good enough and my body is good enough. That really, really, really shifts things. And those are things that I've worked on over and over and over because they're different levels. So it's like I'll work on it, I'll kind of get to a new level, and then I kind of get a new block in that area. So it's the kind of thing that you might need to work on over and over. And that doesn't mean that you didn't get it right the first time. It just means that there are different layers to this stuff. Finally, practical action. So dream up all the new things that you could do with your body. Dream up all the fun things you could do with your body, all the adventures. Pick one thing and do it. Then do the next thing. Work your way through your list. Add things to your list. Exercise makes your body feel good. I'm one of those people that, like, as much as I love running, it's still hard to drag my body out of the house in the mornings for a run. Like, sometimes I just do not feel like getting out. But I do it because I know how good I'm going to feel while I'm running and afterwards. This weekend, I have my kickboxing winter course. We're doing kind of a modified version of it because of COVID. So it's not going to be the full advanced grading, but it's going to be kind of a thing that gives us credit towards our future grading. I'm terrified. I'm really not feeling ready for this. I'm not looking forward to it. But I know how good I'm going to feel afterwards. Not just good physically, but proud of myself for doing something that I was scared of. And yeah, I'm going to feel good. I always feel good after the advanced courses. Yeah, so pick one thing and do it, and then just work your way through your list. But take the practical action. Do the fun things with your body. Have the adventures with your body. And that can mean whatever you want it to mean. Again, because I talk about kickboxing and running and hiking and walking, that doesn't mean that you have to do those things. Do whatever you want. Do whatever feels good. So, that was my rant for today. I hope you found that interesting and useful. I really hope that if you have an unhappy or unhealthy relationship with your body, you can do some things to transform that relationship. I know what it feels like to just not appreciate my body and not be happy with it, just not value it, and that's really crappy. So I wish you the best. As I always say in my emails, happy trails, but of course, trails may not be your thing. But the best of luck to you on your journey of transforming your relationship with your body. I think this is our body, this is what we're living in, we've got it for a lifetime. Why not be nice to it? Why not be kind to it? Why not value it? Why not be grateful for it? And why not forgive yourself for not being all of those lovely things in the past? So, that's it. Please drop me a line and let me know what you thought of this week's episode. You can email me at holly@hollywharton.com or find me online and get in touch there. As always, I would love to hear any ideas you might have for future episodes. I always add them to my list and then I kind of pick them when I feel like it's time to say something about that topic. So, again, thank you so much for listening. Remember to visit hollywharton.com/385 for the show notes on this episode. And next week, I have a guest. I will be speaking with Heather Waring. We're going to be talking about walking for personal development and self-care. Heather is a big fan of the Camino. She is a big fan of walking and specifically walking long-distance trails. We had a great conversation about walking Great Wall of China, the Camino, and other trails. So tune in for that next week. Thank you for listening and have a fantastic day. And if trails are your thing, happy trails to you. Thanks so much for listening to Into the Woods with Holly Wharton. You can find more information about today's episode, including links for topics that were discussed, at hollywharton.com. That's HOLLYWORTON.com. If you'd like to connect with other listeners and get support on your journey, I would love for you to join my private community on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Holly Wharton. That's patreon.com/Holly Wharton. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you next week.